I'm quite sure that with all of those changes, that there has to be some semblance of impact on Age of Aquarius, basically, where the the way things have happened cannot continue. And what's interesting, and I'm talking now kind of politically, but also what's happening for us culturally, and socioeconomically, I think that what happens is it gets worse before it can get better. And there is this huge pendulum shift toward um, keeping with the ways things have happened, which is like where men have been, the masculine energy in our world has ruled the way things are, right? And then there's this little kind of shift to how feminine energy is going to be able to exist in this world. And when you first start figuring something out, like power and how you're going to participate in economy and how you're going to participate in the world, women, right? There's this immediate, or we start off trying to be masculine in a lot of ways, right? As evidenced by women who went into the workplace and we started wearing suits like men, and we started trying to kind of operate like men and operate in the masculine. And that doesn't work either, because that's not sustainable for us, because that's not who we are, right? As women. So it's kind of shifted a little bit. And now, because women have come out and we're like, okay, women want to participate as well, the world has shifted. Men are coming in and doubling down. The masculine energy, let me say that, seems to be coming in and doubling down. Okay, as evidenced by our current president and administration being very much about men are going to here have their power. So much so that the other day he made a comment about America is going to be the most dominant, and we're going to dominate and all of that. It's that energy trying to like rear its head, energy of like I'm over you. It's the energy of I can only be big when you're little, right? And I think, and what I'm hoping to see is some of that feminine energy of collaboration, and how do we work together, and how do we set boundaries with each other, because the things that he's saying, I don't want this to necessarily be a political conversation, right? But the things that he's saying are very much about, well, in order for us to be fair, I have to be higher than you, right? So if you look at that, that's happening at the macro level, and you bring it down to the micro level or the mid level where we're all operating in the world, there is this divide between men and women, between the masculine and the feminine, right? The feminine's pissed off at the way things have been. The masculine's confused about how they're supposed to show up on this planet and what do y'all want from me? And the women are like, well, we don't want to be men, and we feel overburdened and we feel like we're having to do too much. So how do we do that? And then you bring that down into the micro level, into our homes, and that how this is all trickling into the ways that we're operating with each other. And so astrological people who are studying astrology are saying, well, this is kind of this age of Aquarius, which is very much about doing things differently than how they've been done before. But I think that we have to be in this clusterfuck before we can actually get to a place where things open up. I think also there is energetically, there is a frenetic energy that I think the reason why it's so disturbing to so many of us is because it's not about the person or the politics, even if politics and that is something that we're paying attention to. It's more about that energy that so many of us feel very deeply, which is this energy of helplessness, this energy of male dominance, this energy of like you have to like run at that same speed in that same way, and they're the ones who are running the world. So how do we operate in that? And I think that's what many of us are feeling. And what's great is that what he's giving us is something to look at. Yeah. So what I hear and what you're saying is defense. Am I right? I want you for a moment, my friend. First of all, I want you to breathe. Okay. Secondly, for a moment, let's look at character in a play who makes the statement. And we know the backstory about her because her backstory has already been introduced to the audience, right? So let's imagine that character in this play that we're going to call, I don't know, makes the statement, I used to be able to just a couple of exercises, move, and I haven't been able to move. What's the next sentence in the script from the person that she's talking to? You gotta let it out. You gotta let it out. You gotta this is all weight. You gotta let it out, right? Yeah. One of the things we talked about is we talked about like those 3 cycles. We talked about creation. This feeling that you're describing, that you just described a moment ago, which of those 3 buckets would you put that feeling in? Information, which is like maintenance, or completion? Where was the creation? Walk me through this. Hold on. Death is always completion. Death is an end. And then something new has to be reborn out of that. Attempting to normalize, which is what transformation is. You're attempting to normalize something that is actually in creation. Is uncertainty. You've never been here before. It's new. It's how do I operate in this way? It's I have all of this, I'm renovating my house. I've never renovated a house before. I don't really know. And I know they say it takes 6 months, but I don't know. I'm in it. I'm in it creating this new home. Or maybe it's a few rooms in a home. I don't know. But that is, you're actually in creation, because what you're creating is what your life looks like now that you've experienced some completion. You've experienced some completion for the ways that where your parents lived and what your life with them was like before. That is complete. You're now creating something new. Why do you have to let go of? What is it that you feel you need to let go of, and why? I want for a moment to remind you of something. You are a creative being. And because you're a creative being, you have sensitivities and inspiration and ways of processing things that are very unique. You are here. You are in the middle of releasing into the world your ideas and thoughts and perspectives on family, on familial relationships, on the ways that people show up. So it's all, and you have also moved into a caretaker role for your aging parents. And you're renovating your home. And I'm quite sure that with all of those changes, that there has to be some semblance of impact on you and Sam.